Let me now bring on board Mr. Y.K. Hamid, the Chairman and Managing Director of Cipla. Dr. Hamid, good morning. This is Nikunj Dalmia from the Mumbai studio. Always a delight and pleasure to have you back on ET Now.
Well,
let me first start with a broader big picture question. How are business dynamics shaping up for Cipla in their domestic business and in their global business?
That's a very, very difficult question to answer. But let's take the whole India pharma industry in totality. I think the emphasis from the leading pharma companies is on the export front. And most of the pharma indigenous industry is attacking, say, the US markets and the regulated markets of the world, and also the emerging markets. I think overall, Indian pharma companies have a better prospect outside India than within India. And I think because of this, the government should really do some soul searching as to why this is so and how we can develop a bigger, broad-based domestic industry. So I think the prospects look good in the short term. Long term, the important factor on long term is monopoly. India cannot afford a monopoly in healthcare. And I've said that again and again and again, that with a population of 1.3 billion going up to 1.65 billion in 2050, medicines should be freely available for all diseases without any monopoly in India. And I've said that time and time again, and I repeat like a broken record, that the only way prices can come down is by competition and free competition, etc., and no monopoly. And one of the major factors that came up last month was the first compulsory license that was issued to NATCO for sorafenib. I think this is a very important thing, and what the government should do, in the light of India being party to WTO and TRIPS, etc., what the Indian government should do is have a pragmatic compulsory license policy. I sincerely believe that a scientist who invents something has to be suitably rewarded. No question about that. But not in the area of medicines and healthcare should there be a monopoly. Let us pay a suitable royalty to the innovator, but no monopoly. So what India requires to make dynamic progress, both in the domestic market and internationally, is to have a pragmatic, compulsory license system whereby we pay a royalty of, say, 4% to the innovator, and we are free to market under a license of right any drug that is available internationally and not available in our country.
Right.
So with these few words, this is what I sincerely believe India should follow.
Right, Dr. Hamid, but you at Cipla have recently launched a malaria drug as well. If you could talk a little bit more about it, what is the indication that you can give us by way of growth and revenue potential that you see from this drug?
You must first realize that Cipla started its career in malaria. During the Second World War, we had a drug called Kinarsol based on quinine, and that was the drug used under the name Hari Goli all over India and Southeast Asia for malaria. And I don't think people know that Cipla today is one of the leading companies worldwide supplying anti-malarial drugs. And last year alone, we supplied to Africa a total of 45 million doses of anti-malarial drugs. So we are very much entrenched in the anti-malaria market worldwide, as also, apart from this, in the AIDS market. But talking about malaria, this particular drug that Cipla has launched this month has been developed with a group called DNDi. This is an international group for neglected diseases. And this was jointly developed by them. And this is targeted to resistant cases of malaria. And you see this more and more in Southeast Asian countries, Cambodia, Laos, Burma, Indonesia, Bangladesh, India. And I hope that with this availability of this drug, resistant cases of malaria will be suitably controlled. It may not be a very big market as such, but it will certainly save lives where people are not being cured or treated with the normal anti-malarial drugs that we have today.
Things which have worked for Cipla like a charm in last 10 years are three: your presence in Africa, your presence in semi-regulated market, and your market leadership position in the inhaler business. What are the three things which you think will now drive Cipla's growth for next 5 years?
I think one of the main factors that we have going for Cipla, one is our reputation worldwide for reliability, for consistency, for honesty, etc. We have a very, very good name internationally and also in India as a very sound, reliable company. I think that speaks highly for Cipla. And I also, with my colleagues here, leave no stone unturned to maintain that reputation that we have created over the last 75 years as a company. That holds us in good stead. I think one of the things we should be doing and will be doing is expand in the emerging markets apart from the domestic market. I think, as I said earlier, the domestic market, the government has to provide a suitable infrastructure, which is not being there. On the pricing front, there's no decisions taken. On the regulatory front, no decisions are taken. It's a very poor situation with the government on many fronts connected with the pharmaceutical industry. And because of that, domestically, China will override India in the next 10 years unless we wake up and try and do what the Chinese are doing to support indigenous industry. We are the backbone of the country, the indigenous Indian industry, not the multinationals, the indigenous industry. So this is for the domestic. I think what Cipla will do is expand its horizons overseas, particularly in the international generic market and in the international branded generic market, the OTC market, the veterinary markets. And we've started doing this. We have already got partners in various countries of the world, and this is something that we will expand. We are targeting, among most countries and continents, I think our main target will be Africa. What can we do for the downtrodden third world countries of the world? And our main target will therefore be Africa. And apart from business, we look at Africa from a very humanitarian point of view.